Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm going to start thinking about some other elements over here, like, buttons. Buttons are incredibly important, and I just want to start getting those out of the way really quickly. So we all know how to make buttons. I mean, we've created a bunch together already. Probably one of the most important UI elements. So I have a couple over here. I'm actually just going to grab all these variations that we have. I'm also going to grab this one because I think it's good to have options, and especially when it comes to having like primaries, secondaries, tertiaries. I think it's definitely going to be helpful. So based off of our wireframes, we're using these, we're using a solid and we're using a lined version. And right now, I think we definitely need to start thinking about having maybe two solid versions. One okay, this is like a big thing with this yellow background. Like it should really pop and be used maybe sparingly. This is maybe like our main go-to button. And then this one is like maybe our secondary version that maybe isn't so much used. Like this is kind of like, okay, see more of this or go back or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating some variations here. I'm not making components yet. I just want to see what's going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press T, or we can actually just grab this button. And I think we should probably make variations of sizes. So maybe 48's the max we go in terms of size, in terms of height. We have 16 pixels on the 48. So I think that's good. This is based off of our other components that we created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and make sure that it's going to match our styles. Okay, so we got a nice yellow there. Maybe this is where we can start cleaning up even our color styles. Maybe that yellow is just like too much like a beehive, or like it reminds me too much of like bees and stuff like that. So maybe we start cleaning that up a bit. So I'm just going to call this button label, and I'm going to do the same with this one over here. I'm just going to call it button label, and I'm going to make a black and white version. So I just want to make sure that I'm using the right colors. So there we go. Grab that one. This, I'm going to grab the color over here. So we're going to have a dark version and a light version. So grabbing the button label and going to white. So we have a dark. I'm going to delete that now. Now the next step is to think about the maybe even these options over here. So I'm going to, delete the fill on that, put a stroke, and make sure that stroke color is the same. I'm going to just change this back to hex. Same with the option here. So I'm just going to delete that. Now this is maybe like our tertiary button that we've seen. Maybe there's like a different variation of this. So I'm going to just call this, I'm going to go and name all of these. I'm going to just press Command R, Control R. So I'm going to keep the current name. So it's going to put that value there, and I'm going to press a V1. So it's going to keep the current name and just use V1 at the end. We can make variations of these buttons as well, but I'm going to work on this one first. So now, there's a couple things we can do here. We don't have to have like a full black stroke. We could also have like something like a gray stroke, and the text could be a little bit lighter than that dark gray. So it's like something like that. And if we like look at it behind behind a white background, I'm actually not too keen on that just yet. So I'm going to just modify it a bit, play around with these colors. Maybe that's just not enough contrast there. Maybe this one needs to come down in contrast, because maybe if it's a cancel button, it's something that we don't want people to see easily. So I mean, there's definitely some options there. I'm just going to remove that frame. So this is the, maybe the button v2. This one, I'm going to keep this black, so I don't think we need a v1. I like this one. But I was also thinking, you know, what happens if we have like a very, very dark version of the yellow that we haven't really explored yet? Like something like, I don't know, yellow's really hard to do and, you know, still be accessible. So, you know, definitely, I mean, there's some options here, but I mean, I'm going to keep them just in case. So I have some button variations. Let's take a look what else we have here. So yeah, I think like, you know, we could use maybe some option like this where we have like, you know, a tertiary. Maybe that's just not enough. Maybe there is a button version where it's like, you know, let's see. Like the background is more of like a very soft background. And then it has like a gray font or something like that. Let's see. I'm going to just draw a frame around this. I'm actually going to draw this frame around all of my button variations. So I'm just going to call this buttons. So that way we can see what they look like on white. And then I'll just draw a frame around my nav options. Nav. So we have buttons, we have navs, and you're going to see all my work here, and you should work alongside me, or you can see how my process plays out a bit. So that is currently where I am at with button variations. Maybe if you want like a subtle button like that, we can incorporate that. Or, you know, we can, you know, work with just 3. I think 3 is going to maybe be enough here. So let me see. So I mean, there's definitely some options here, but definitely, you know, go out there and, you know, try a bunch of variations, because I'm thinking this could also be used as like, say like a filter button on our search or something like that. And we can just set it to hug. Right now it's fixed height, you know, like that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to drag this down, and I'm going to grab all these buttons and I'm going to bring them down here, and I'm going to set them to 36 pixels in height. And then I am going to grab all the text. So I'm holding down Command so I can easily like deep click. So you can hold Command and Shift, which will select all and deep click them all. And then I'm going to go into my styles here, and I'm just going to set them to 14. These can be just 100%. So that way for, you know, 36 pixel buttons, we don't have to deal with like super large sizes. So it's good to also see them when they're much smaller as well, to see how these buttons will actually just work. But I'm thinking this is looking really, really good thus far. And yeah, here we go. We have a couple of variations already for buttons. Things are starting to come together based off of our color styles and our text styles. Let's keep going.